Good morning, guys. How you doing? Hope you're good. Welcome to the morning show. Before we get started, if we could just ask you to make sure that you like, make sure that you share, make sure you put this out there, guys. And if there's any comments, make sure you just comment down below here, just on your phone or your computer, whatever you're on. Let me know you're here. Say hi. Get involved with the conversation. If you're on podcast, please do leave a review at the end. Okay, so we're going to talk about consumption versus taking action. Okay, so this could be for anyone. So you might follow a number of people and might listen to a lot of practices that they teach, a lot of mindsets that they implement. Okay, a lot of tips and coaching, etc. I know within myself and my role, we do this morning show. We do lots of content on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. There's free podcasts. There's a free group. There's lots of everything. There's free stuff. So what you'll end up doing is maybe spending your day consuming a lot of that information, either by podcast, by audio, by watching the show, by being in a free group. And what you'll end up doing is like listening to a lot of the content that you're going along. So, you know, it might be, let's just take my content, for example. You'll listen to the stuff that I talk about. A lot of the stuff I talk about is implementing a stronger mindset, being able to overcome a lot of the distractions, being able to focus on yourself, being able to realise that to put things into perspective in life, you know, that's kind of like some of the things that I think we need to grasp before we worry about the fat loss. Also give you fitness tips, running tips, nutritional tips, all of that stuff, and you consume it as somebody of interest. You consume that information, it goes into your brain, and then you decide what you're going to do with it. You'll either think, oh well, I can resonate with that, you know, I can understand that. So this is a big part of what I put out. And this is my book, it's A State of Mind. So for those in the podcast, I'm just putting on my book, It's A State of Mind. That is, in theory, my message in one, from front cover to back cover, in one particular product. And everything I talk about in the show, everything I talk about on my podcast, everything I talk about on my other platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn is all related to that. And so what do you do with that information? You know, I know that when I listen to particular people and particular influencers, different mentors, online mentors that I follow, I tend to process a lot of that information. So it will go in and I kind of filter it and I think, can I use it? Can I not use it? Am I implementing it? Am I implementing their tips that's going to help me move forwards? And I think this is where the level of success varies. Now, there are people that will consume, go, I totally understand this. This is raise my self-awareness. That is me to a T. I really need to sort myself out. There are others that will go, that's me. I will just keep listening. I'll just keep consuming. And when the time's right, I'm going to do something. There are others who will consume a little bits, ins and out, parts of it, that will probably get quite upset and triggered and annoyed and start flashing because it hits a nerve, it hits a chord. You know, there's lots of different ways that will happen. And then really we think about where do we go from there as in terms of taking action. What am I going to do about the stuff that I'm listening to? What am I going to do with the stuff that, you know, as I'm walking down the street right now, you might be listening to me on your podcast, you might be taking the dogs for a walk, you might have related to a lot of the stuff that I've said, you might understand yourself a little bit better. Well, what the fuck are you going to do about it? That's like, you know, that's where it comes to light. That's the most important part, is like, what action are you going to take? Now, I did a video last night and I talked about if I took 20 guys on a journey from day 0 to 365, where I set up the program, set up everything with the accountability, if I set up the structure for support, everything's there for you, okay? Everything's there. probably only 4 people would end up making it to day 365. And when it comes to taking action, there's a lot of things that people aren't prepared to do or aren't prepared to fight through to get to the point where they want to be. Now, when I look at the guys that come into our brotherhood, now we only open the brotherhood 3 times a year. Only open it 3 times a year. It's not just a walk in, yep, I think I'll join that today. Bang. We do a 5-day build up, a free build up. If you want to join us, there's an offer, you would join and you'll come in. And what I'm looking for from now on for people coming in, it's not just a case you can join a brotherhood. I'm looking for people who want to take action. I'm looking for people that are going to commit. I'm not looking for people that are going to make excuses and dip out. I'm looking for those people that, yes, in reality, life is going to be very, very difficult and you are going to face adversity. You're going to face brick walls that you're going to need to jump over. You are going to have to become resilient. You're going to have to be a lot stronger minded and you're going to have to deal with change. Okay. The difference between those that will continue that journey, will implement all of those qualities, and the ones that like fade off after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, are the ones that are not like prepared to change in their mind. It's either too hard, or you don't have time, or your head's not into it, or some other excuse that we tend to make. And this is where the action comes in. You're consuming really well. You consume it, you understand it, you relate to it. But when it comes to action, there's like a brick wall. There's a brick wall, and we are losing guys left, right, and centre, right? Not as in we're losing them, but I always look at it as a personal battle for me to try to make sure I can convince a guy that he can change from a guy who is implementing poor habits, is making the same bullshit excuses, has the same attitude, has the same identity and same belief system, and has done for many months and years. What I look at it as, I don't look at people coming into my brotherhood and think to myself, okay, we're going to lose 2 stone. What I get them in there is that I want them to build up resilience, resistance. I want them to build up a solid mindset. I want them to understand time management. I want them to understand planning and goal setting. I want them to understand these things, because these are the things that are going to pull them out of the system. These are the things that are going to stop them achieving their fat loss. So fat loss is the end game. Body transformation is the end game. I just don't use those words an awful lot, because we don't get to that point unless we work out and put into place the foundations and pillars that are absolutely required to reach that end game. Because if we don't implement time management, resilience, planning, morning structure, evening structure, you become overwhelmed, you think it's too hard, you say you don't have time, and you fall out of the system and you become another statistic. You become one of those 16 out of 20 that quit somewhere along the process. And that's because you lost sight of exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. So when you come into the brotherhood, the one thing that we try to implement is understanding is that for the first 6 weeks, it's all about getting your head around change. It's all about understanding your new identity. It's all about understanding your new benefits, your new beliefs, understanding the benefits. It's about working alongside other guys who have much more experience. There's guys in the brotherhood who've been with me now over a year. There are guys in the brotherhood who've been with me between 6 and 12 months. There are guys in the brotherhood who've been with me between 3 and 6 months. And everyone is at a different level. And we're all going through the same process, and I'm seeing the same process. We always lose people along the way, and we lose those people because they lose sight of what it is all about. That's what they lose sight of. And that's what I'm trying for people to understand. When it comes to action, okay, we are not on top of it as much as we are consuming. And as is quite rightly so, that's the difference. Consuming the information, I can consume all day, I can take on all that information, but when it comes to taking that step to action, how much how prepared are you going to be? How well driven are you? How committed are you? Are you going to show up every single day, even when it's tough, even when you don't feel like it? Okay, and why aren't you taking that step? Why aren't you seeing what you're made of? Why aren't you seeing if you can reach that next level? And that's what I want you to think about. If you're watching this, if you're listening on the podcast, what's the next step? Because you can't consume and do nothing forever, because nothing will change. If you need to lose 2 to 3 to 4 stone, then you need to start making changes. If you need to improve your mental well-being, then you need to make changes. If you need to improve your structure, your habits, your routine, then you need to make changes. You can't consume forever, because I just scratched the surface. A lot of what we do in the Brotherhood is going a little bit deeper, and then with the mastermind, we go all in. And I just want you to think about that. Now, on April the 1st, we're doing our free, no bullshit, no shit, if you know me by now, 5-day Fire It Up challenge. And this is our build up to the Brotherhood. And we're going to start opening up your action pause, if you like. So that is you starting to take action. That is you starting to implement some new skills, new belief systems, new identity. And we're going to do that through a series of 5 days worth of tasks and coaching. I put out 5 days free completely. And at the end of that, I'll say to you, are you continuing this journey, or have you got enough to carry on? And that will be totally up to you. And that will be up and ready for next week for you to start enrolling. And I just think it's an opportunity for you to take some action. It doesn't cost anything. It's a case of testing yourself. But like I say, you have to think about, it's going to be tough. Like, you know, the end state is body transformation, mental well-being. The journey to that is understanding the process. It's understanding the little implements, the little pillars, the little foundations that you have to put in place to achieve that end state. And that's where action comes in. Most guys, it takes on average 4 months for people to do something before listening to me. So from when people first listen to me, whether it's the first podcast they listen to me, whether it's the first Facebook live feed they've listened to me, usually on average takes 4 months for them to take action. It's 4 months before they do anything about it. And that is that 4 months of constant consumption, constant thinking, constant listening, visually seeing, before doing anything. And I don't want you to leave it any longer, because you'll end up being 2 years down the line wishing that you had started, worrying, and in your head you probably worry a lot more about things that you really don't need to worry about. Am I fit enough? Am I strong enough? Am I going to be able to do it? Am I not going to be able to do it? But you don't know unless you're in that fight. You don't know if you're in that fight. And then, but when you're in there and you actually have support, that when you want to quit, we pick you back up. You know, you go to you're able to go to the next level, and you just continuously keep building the layers. And that's what life is all about. For me, it's about building the layers. Okay, this is how strong I am now. I'm going next level, next level, next level. And you're always finding the next level when it comes to implementation. You start off, it's like when you start off playing football, you're shit. Okay, but then like when I was 18, I was shit at football. Like at 35, my football brain was much better. I understood the game better. I understood where to position myself better. I understood how to conserve my energy more, where to be in the right position, etc., etc. And that's just experience, and that's the same for you. The quicker you start your action, the more experience you gain, the more momentum you build, and the better you become. And you'll fall down, and then you come back up. Bang, and you build up that resilience. So I'll leave it on that, guys. All right, action. I'll leave you with the question, what is your next step? All right, have a great day, and I'll catch you soon.